Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we're going to be taking a look at House Flipper 2. I recently did a video on the first House Flipper because I knew that this was coming out soon, and I really liked the first one. I did approach the second one with a little sense of hesitancy because some sequels have a tendency to overcomplicate themselves and just take the fun away from the game, and House Flipper was a really chill, fun game for me, where obviously it involved cleaning and decorating and renovating houses and selling them on. First things first I need to do is a shout out to my brother-in-law Adam, who gave me most of the money I needed to purchase the game, so thanks for that, buddy. And second thing I need to say is I was pleasantly surprised in the fact that they have made the systems more complicated, but not in a way that stripped out any of the fun from the original game. Previously in the game you would just paint walls as big long stripes going up, columns. Now it's more of like a grid style affair, and you can mark out where you want to paint so you don't go over the edges, and you paint that up and then mark out another one, or you can freehand it once you get a specific perk. I tend not to do that because I'm terrible at colouring in, and yeah, I would be terrible at this. Your garbage bags now fill up and you need to throw them in the bin. So that's a little bit of extra work, but it's not too bad. You do have a scanner on you, so you can highlight things that are associated with the tools that you have in your hand. So if you've got cleaning products, it will highlight all of the grime, which can be helpful because if you part clean grime, it can be nearly invisible. So having it highlighted is a godsend for when you're trying to like get 100%. Now I have done all of the jobs available in the game. All that really remains in it for me now is just either replaying those jobs for cash, or doing the assembly tests, or just continuing to buy and renovate houses, really. Some of the houses you can buy are relatively expensive. I think there's like $250,000 one on there. I think that's about the most expensive one. I do actually have that because I am a very proficient renovator and handyman. The jobs themselves are good fun. There's a good sort of variety of ones you can do, ranges from just cleaning up and sort of setting things straight to actually going in and putting in new rooms and taking out old ones. A lot of the time you'll be selling a lot of stuff. It now comes with a handy dandy sort of gun that sells things, and it comes up whether it should be sold or not with a little tick or a cross on it, so it's nice and easy. The actual cleaning tools change depending on what you're doing, rather than just being the one thing. So if you're doing like a wall, it might be a cloth, or if you're doing like stairs, it might change to a brush, but it all does the same thing. The decorating is slightly better, I think. It now does it in areas, so it's the default's 3x3 square, so you just plop like wallpaper or tiles or floor panels. It's generally the same thing, so it's nice and easy, and I'm really having a good load of fun with it. There is some sort of like more, it's a super chill game, but you can test yourself in it because they have what's called assembly tests, where you put together stuff from like an office desk to a bookshelf to just a regular shelf, I suppose, to a clock, stuff like that. And what that would do is, if you're able to get like 1, 2 or 3 stars, it will give you a discount when you're buying those items. So you don't actually need to go in and assemble them every time. Although I think that might be kind of cool if you could do that, because I mean, you used to have to like assemble showers and things like that, and like basins and washing machines. You know, in washing machines, you take out the big bolts so the drum can spin and put the back panel back on, that sort of thing. In this game, you just plop them down. There's really no assembly to them, which I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it was cool when you first started doing the assembly, but then it was kind of like, oh, again, okay, whatever. So I don't mind plopping them down, but I think it'd be nice to have like the opportunity to have a more like House Flipper 1 sort of gameplay method where you could actually sort of sort that out. And it's just such a good continuation on from the previous game, because you've got all of like the chill gameplay that I really loved from the first game, but there's a bit more story going on. You've moved back to town and you've got a mate that's setting you up with jobs, and your sort of end goal is to renovate what's called the ugly house. All of the jobs have very clear goals to do. So you walk in a room, you can check your quest list. It shows you exactly how much trash you need to pick up, exactly what you need to clean. It shows you where any walls need to be. It will generally give you choices for like decor, like, so it will give you like, I want this color or this color, and you can mix and match it, or you can just use one and it's perfectly acceptable for the job. The furniture you place down yourself, it's a little bit finicky in terms of what you're putting down, because I've found like I'll click on one thing and it'll be sort of in one color set, and then I'll put it down and it will be in an entirely another one. The only way to like really guarantee that is to go in and physically pick the color set you want, which is not difficult because it's on the buy screen for the piece of furniture. It does have some interesting tools, so you can copy the color sets off of one piece of furniture and apply it to others, stuff like that, so that's very handy. One thing I have found is, because when you're like tiling floors or walls, you don't set in an area like you do when you're painting, so you could like put a couple of tiles sort of just outside, and you can't change those tiles, you have to tile over them, which means getting a palette of whatever you've covered over, which is relatively easy to do because you can just hold down a button while putting in it and it will bring up the appropriate thing in the shop, so you can, but it's just a bit of a pain in the ass really. I'd really like an undo function where you just like, oh no, take that off quick, I've just gone slightly too far over. I've done that a couple of times. You sort of get used to it and become a little bit more careful when you're doing that sort of thing. There are several sections of the town that you do, which you have a beach section, which have some interesting houses and a lot of washed up shit for you to pick up. I think it just remains really satisfying to enter just an absolute disaster zone and clean it all up and like look back and go, yeah, look at that nice clean thing I've done. I mean, again, this is coming from me and my friends, my family, my wife. Everyone will be like, yeah, housework and him, that's not really a match. I mean, when you think about dusting, right? You dust and you're like, right, that's done, that looks good. It's going to be dusty again in about 3 days, but it looks good for now. It's like, fuck it. You know, I'll worry about it when I start tripping over the dust bunnies, right? You know, that's sort of my mindset. But I think it's probably from my childhood, actually, because Dad used to get me out of bed early on a Saturday and demand that I do housework. So I'm probably like just a nerd against housework. Like psychologically, I'm just like, bleh, bleh. But this game, I really love it. It's part of the plethora of games like Power Wash Simulator or Lawnmower Simulator or the first House Flipper, where I'm doing stuff that I would hate in real life. But I quite like doing in-game. It's like, I watch camping YouTube videos. Camping seems like the worst thing in the world to me, but I enjoy watching them do it. It's just weird, I know. I'm just kind of weird. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, so it's available on Steam. This is where I got it. Again, thanks for the Steam money, Adam. You're an awesome dude. It did come out December the 14th from Frozen District and Therion. Let me go and let me go to the store page and I'll tell you exactly how much that's for. There we go. So yes, House Flipper 2 is currently at $32.49. No offer on that because it's been out a little while. It does support Xbox and PlayStation controllers, but I'm of course playing it on keyboard and mouse because I am Master Race and that is how I roll. I don't think I'm not sure there's any DLC. If there is, I'll probably end up buying it, to be honest, because I do like the game. Let me check. There is one piece for £8, which is a supporter pack. It just looks like stuff you get if you like funded it, I guess, on crowdfunding or something. Add unique items to the game to help you finish off your freshly built houses. So it's just a few bits and bobs you can place by the look of it. Nothing too much, so you don't want to get that. I wouldn't. It's day one DLC as well. It came out with the game, so meh. Don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, I mean, if you like the sort of game where you just sit there and just while away literal hours, I mean, I've played for around 18 now. And as I say, I finished all the email jobs, and it's just kind of redoing them and earning more money and doing the assembly tests. The assembly tests are quite difficult. To get like 2 stars in it, you need to like do everything perfectly. So you actually, like, when you put the screws in, you have to hold down as you screw it in until it goes into the green, and then let go, and that will give you like a perfect sort of score for screwing, if you like. It's not as fun as that sounds, to be fair. But the 3rd star I'm finding really difficult because it's like a time challenge, and the camera isn't particularly helpful in this particular mode, I find. So it will be like, go pick up boxes, and I'm like looking around for boxes, but like, you kind of need to at least do it the first time and expect to fail to actually figure out where you need to go each time, and then you just need to get quicker on it. As I said, the camera doesn't help. The way you change the camera is holding down control and moving the mouse. It's a bit janky and cumbersome for me. It's fine normally because it's a first person viewpoint, so you don't have to worry about it. But in the assembly one, you really need to turn the camera around to like see where the screws are going and all of that type of stuff. And sometimes you're not even aware there are other screws that you're missing. You're like, well, what are you doing? I don't know. And then it's, yeah, and then you've lost time. And I mean, I've got a few 3 stars, but most of mine are 2 because I just can't do it within the time limit. I mean, you would have to be, they are really tight, and you would have to be pretty much just continuously banging the screws in, you know, perfectly every time, straight to where you need to go each and every time. It's not an easy thing to do, and it, you know, I hold no bones. It's a bit tricky for my liking, but I think they could open up on the old tightness of the time limit there, personally. But there we go. It has just been patched. I don't know whether that has made any particular difference in the game, because it was literally patching when I turned the PC on this morning. So from what I've read the patch notes, it just seems like bugs and stuff like that. Nothing too major, so I imagine that the majority of this review will not be voided by this patch. So there you go. Anyway, guys, that's me burbling on about House Flipper 2. Highly recommend it. As I said, it is a really good way to unwind and de-stress. It's a real chill game. If you want to play that sort of thing, then here you are. I love it. I love the first one, and I'm super glad that I had the opportunity to pick this one up for me. Cool birthday present. So that's all for this week. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.